Hello friends, today we are gonna discuss about what are some of the exercises that will help you correct your postures. Now, a lot of working professionals are working at desk jobs and they are continuously typing, and which results in a lot of spinal issues, be it sciatica pain, lumbar pain, be it cervical issues, a lot of issues. So these exercises will help you avoid those particular pain. If you already have those pain, I would suggest don't look at these videos. And if you're trying this out, try it at your own risk. It might help, it might make the condition worse. So the best thing that you can do, if you already have a pain, have some kind of pain, the best thing you can do if you already have some kind of pain is reach out to a healthcare professional, be it yoga instruction, be it medical professional, and ask them what's the best course of action. So others can continue this. So the first exercise that we're going to do is place our hand on the top of the chair, and we make our knees go backward and we pulse in. This will put a lot of pressure on your deltoid and also your trapezius or back muscle. Do this for 60 seconds. The next exercise that we're going to do is place our elbows on the top of the chair and then slide our knees back, and while we are sliding we make an namaskar mudra on the back of our on our back, and then we pulse it. This will put more pressure on your shoulders, deltoids, your triceps, also on your back. The next exercise that we are going to do is placing our hands on the top of the chair. We make sure our legs are walking backward and then we pulse in. So your head should go almost parallel to the sitting part of your chair. So this will extend your back muscles completely and also your shoulder muscle. This is easier compared to the other two exercises that we did. Do this for 30 to 40 seconds. Now the next exercise that we are going to do, which is also counterpose for this exercise, is making sure your legs are where they were before and sliding your hips in such that it touches the edge of the chair, and you can move your toes slightly forward, then look back. This will put a lot of pressure on your lower back, lumbar region. People with slip disc L2 to L4 should avoid this at any cost. This will put a lot of pressure. Once you're done, come back, put your knees on the ground and make sure your toes are touching and the knees are wide. Try to hold the top of the chair while sitting down. This is a modified version of child's pose. You can move your knees slightly forward. Make sure your toes are touching. And this is a counter pose for previous pose. This will really extend your back muscles and it will give you a lot of relaxation if you already have a pain. And if you don't, it will stretch it. Make sure your head is touching the ground, or you try to touch your head to the ground. You can pulse in. Do this for 30 to 40 seconds. Always push your limits, but if it's hurting unnecessarily, avoid it, take rest. The next exercise that we are going to do, that will help us strengthen our back muscles and avoid all the back pain is Ashtanga Namaskara. So this is especially helpful for people who who keep their heads down while working all day, due to which they tend to have cervical pain, and this vertebra gets affected immediately and your head is like this and starts paining a lot. This is especially helpful for all these people, and this challenges exactly that region of the neck. So all you have to do is lay down on the mat, come down on your knees, come down on your knees, make sure your toes are touching the ground, then slightly lift your neck up. Your chest is touching, your knees are touching, your hands are touching, and your chin is touching. So there are only 8 parts that are touching, that's why it's called 8 limb pose, Ashtanga Namaskar. So you stay here for 30 to 40 seconds. And come back, rest in child's pose. The next exercise that we are going to do, next asana we are going to do is called Bhujangasana. To do Bhujangasana, you lay down your mat and you make sure your toes are touching the ground, and you lift your chest up using your hand. Make sure your navel point is touching. You try to look up. Don't raise your navel above the ground. Your navel center should touch the ground and your neck should be looking up. This will put a lot of pressure on your lower back. This is also good for people with thyroid. And come back, relax in child pose. The next asana we are going to do is called Ustrasana. This also promotes your back strength. The more curve your back has, the more flexible it is, the happier life you'll have, the more energetic life you have. So that's what we are planning to do here. Again, avoid this pose if you have any kind of cervical, lumbar, sciatica pain, or if you have slip disc of any kind. So all you have to do is to do Ustrasana is grab your legs, grab your ankles, both ankles. If you're advanced, you can grab the floor that is next to your ankle, and then you bend backwards, look backwards, make sure your hips are pushing forward. You will feel a lot of pressure on your lower spinal region, lumbar region, and also your shoulder, also your triceps, your quads, your glutes. Stay there for 40 seconds. Keep breathing. And come back. Now do the counter pose for this exercise. The counter pose for this exercise is you put the top of your head. This is also called rabbit pose, Khargoshasana. So you put the top of your head on the mat, you raise your toes and you grab it. If you cannot grab your toes, if you are unable to balance, you just raise your toes and use your hands to balance. So this is the counter pose. This is how it goes. Stay here for 20 seconds. And come back. Now we'll do this pose called Supta Vajrasana. So this is also helpful for your back, relaxing your back, but it will also stretch your quads. So you sit in Vajrasana position and then you slightly place your elbow on the ground, then the second elbow on the ground, and then you basically put your back on the ground. And you stay here for 30 to 40 seconds. You can rest. You can meditate here you will feel a lot of pressure on your quadriceps. So this pose extends your quadriceps muscles. This pose also strengthens your quadriceps muscles, and you will be able to withstand much more pressure once you master this particular pose. This also pushes your sacrum region inward such that your spine comes in natural curvature. So if your sacrum vertebra bone is out of alignment in some way, if it's too, then this pose will help a lot. Slowly place one elbow on the ground and the second elbow and rise up. Now we'll do another version of Supta Asana, which is called Supta Virasana. Supta Virasana is similar to Supta Vajrasana, but it's simpler as compared to Supta Vajrasana. It puts also some pressure on the knee, and if you have knee injury, don't do either of these poses. And it also puts a lot of pressure on your toes, so on your ankle. But it's also, since it put the pressure, if you're able to withstand it, you will also strengthen it, and of course you will get some back benefits as well. To do this asana, you make sure you sit in Virasana. To get into Virasana, you basically sit in Vajrasana and make sure your legs are separated, and your heels are next to your hips. So, and your hips are touching the ground. And then to do Supta version, you basically fall back, and you can hold your heels if you like. This is Supta Virasana. This will put a lot of pressure on your knees and also your quads. But in Supta Vajrasana, what happens that most of the pressure was taken by the quads. In Supta Virasana, this will be distributed across your quads, your knees, your ankles. But this is extremely important for most people. So you sit here in this position, you meditate, you rest for 30 to 40 seconds and do the asana do its work. Slowly place your elbow and come back and relax. You can come back to Dandasana position. Relax your toes. Relax your toes, rest it. The next asana that we're going to do is called Parvatasana. So let's do a preparatory pose for that. So basically your hands are facing the way your toes are facing. So you place it right underneath your shoulder. You raise your hip up and you stay in this position. You can turn your hands opposite side as well. This will be much more easier for most people. And then you do 10 repetition of this. You can do 20 as well. Now you get to Parvatasana. In Parvatasana, make sure your hands are facing the toes, and then you lift up and you extend your legs. Make sure your toes are joining. Stay here for 30 to 40 seconds. You will feel a stretch in your upper back, also your neck. Slowly come back to Dandasana. Now we'll do Bekasana. To do Bekasana, you sit in prone position. You make sure your toes are close to your hips. You touch it. You take the ankle and then you raise your chest up. This will put a lot of pressure on your chest, your back, your neck, also your knees. So don't do it if you have knee pain or slip disc of any kind. Do this for 30 to 40 seconds and come back. You can rest in child's pose Matsyasana or fish pose. To do Matsyasana, you have to sit in Padmasana. If you are unable to do Padmasana, you can basically just do Dandasana, sit in Dandasana, then make sure your hands are inside your hips, and then you lie down on your elbows and then try to touch the top of your head on the ground. Breathe in when you're going down. Stay there for 30 to 40 seconds. Then slowly come back. Now we'll do Gaumukhasana. So to do Gaumukhasana, you basically wrap your legs and then you lie on the ground and then you pull your legs downwards. This will put a lot of pressure on your glutes, and since it's a prone position, will be relaxing for you. Then do it with your opposite leg. This will put pressure on your opposite glute. Then rest. Now we'll do Anand Balasana. To do Anand Balasana, you basically grab your toes. You make sure it's on the top of you. So, and you pull your knees closer to your chest. In best case scenario, your knees should touch the ground. This will put a lot of pressure on your lower back. So avoid it, even though it's safer for even people who have spinal issues. So, but still avoid it and do it only under the supervision of a healthcare professional. And relax. Relax in Shavasana.